Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to The Ice Cream Man. Nothing could be wrong here. This is a donation from Sweet Venom, and I know nothing about what this is. When I think of Ice Cream Man, I think of, well, the Ice Cream Man, the person who comes, or Ice Cream Person, I guess is more accurate, because it's not always a man. Shouldn't just assume. But the person who comes in the ice cream truck down the street with the, let's be honest, a little bit overpriced ice cream treats. Usually bars, little cups, whatnot. Fun fact, it was like, I think a couple months ago now, but I actually got something from the ice cream truck for the first time in a long time. I got I believe it was a strawberry cheesecake bar, or strawberry shortcake rather, strawberry shortcake bar, which have always been one of my favorites. It's just something I never really thought about getting, and for such a long ass time. Like, before then I probably hadn't gotten anything from the ice cream truck for well over a decade. I feel like I would have had to have been in high school. I feel like I would have been in high school, and I'm not even talking late high school, because I don't think an ice cream truck ever came around my neighborhood when I was in Georgia, because we had a gated neighborhood there. I think it was, it would have to have been early high school, maybe late middle school. Probably early high school, though. And that's been obviously well over a decade at this point. So, yeah, I decided to go get something from the ice cream truck the other week. Or, not the other week, a couple months ago. I don't remember exactly when it was. I might have posted about it on Discord. But that it's not important. It's not important. So yeah, I don't know what this movie is about at all, and knowing this kind of stuff Venom tends to donate for, this is either a horror movie or some kind of true crime thing. I'm just saying, Venom, you have a type of movie that you tend to donate for a lot. There are always exceptions. There are obvious exceptions to that, but a lot of times that ends up being the case. And the thing is, I could see it. Like, I could see this being a true crime kind of thing. Like, I've heard of news stories where ice cream men have done terrible things, who have kidnapped children and whatnot. Killed children as well. A lot of things like that. I've very much heard the stories. It's obviously exceedingly rare. Most ice cream trucks are just fine. But yeah, it has happened. I don't know if this is, like, gonna be something like that, or if it's gonna be something completely different. For all I know, this might be a fucking comedy. I don't know. I don't know who's in this. I don't know when this came out. I know nothing. And like I've said in the past, I like that I know nothing. It's good to go in as blind as possible, and this is pretty much completely blind. All I know is the title. So, yeah, I guess we're going to see what this is about, who's in it, when it was released, I guess. What kind of budget it has, because I've never heard of this one either. There's a lot of movies that I've never seen or even don't know, like, much of any details of, but I've heard of at least. This is one I don't think I've ever heard of, not to my knowledge at least. But either way, we're just gonna get this started and hope for the best. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the movie. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, so I've seen some bad movies reacting to on this channel. I've reacted to some bad movies, but this was like really bad. Like, it was so poorly made. I found out this was direct to DVD, and I can see that, a direct to video thing or whatever. I can see that because it's like there is no way this film could have made it to theaters with the state it's in. And it's not even just the plot in general, because the plot could work as a cheesy horror movie. It's not even necessarily the acting of the lead star, Clint Howard, I think his name was. Yeah, Clint Howard. It's everything else pretty much. The writing, the pacing, the way it cuts at certain points, the direction, the acting of pretty much anyone else who's not Clint Howard. It's all terrible. And not just bad, but outright terrible. Again, certain scenes like cut or just end at random places. A lot of the way that people talk and act and react around others are just really fucking weird. Like, nothing seems natural. And I'm not just talking about the stuff that's not supposed to seem natural, but... And some stuff is just a little too weird as well, even the stuff that's meant to be. Like, the sanitarium being in that terrible of shape, being that horrifically fucked up is just... It's just not believable. There's no way that would be in business. Like, that would have been shut down well before then. Like, well before then. It would have been shut down. These people would have been, especially the doctors as well, would have been put somewhere else. That it would never fly. Like, there's no way that could have existed, especially for that long, in that kind of a state. On top of that, it's like, I guess he was willing to kill kids, but then Small Paul not, for some reason. When I looked things up and everything in between, it said like Small Paul showed an interest in his experiments and stuff, and that's why he didn't kill him. And it's like, it seemed like he showed an interest after he was revealed to not be killed, though. Like, it feels like things are just like out of place in that regard. Again, the way things were cut around and the way things were paced and how certain scenes were directed just felt so off. There are also things that it's like, why was this in there? Like the one woman who was sleeping around with everyone, most notably the one father, and then the ice cream man she tried to sleep around with too, and it's just like, why was that a plot point? What was the point of including that? Also, we never really saw much of any reactions to these missing people, by the way. Like, I think there were only really 2 reactions, and that was like the nurse wondering where her dog was, and then you have Small Paul, like, but we never saw like the parents' response, but other people like wondering like, oh, what happened to Small Paul? He was taken by the ice cream man, yada yada yada. But it's like, outside of like maybe the cops going to check on the girl because the kids told them to check and everything. It's like there was never any like question about any of the people who actually did disappear. Like the one father disappeared. It's like never touched on, never touched on the fact that he disappeared. We know he was killed, but it was never touched on. It's so much was never like that's I think the weirdest thing to me. It's that the reactions people were having to everything or not having just felt so off and made this feel like nothing was natural at all. It didn't feel like these people were reacting in ways that people would react to these kinds of situations. Pretty much any of the characters, really. And it just. And part of that comes down to the acting, part of that comes down to the writing and the dialogue and everything. It's just. It was not handled well at all. Again, the direction and the filming and everything, the way scenes were shot was also pretty poor. It's like there were certain shots that just didn't really make sense, certain things that looked just terrible. And again, a lot of the cuts and whatnot were just really bad. According to what I was reading, this has apparently become a cult classic. I guess there's a certain subset of fans who might see it as like one of those so bad it's good films. I can't even see it as that because there's a lot of the movie where it's extremely boring. Let's be honest. For a slasher film, this was honestly really boring for the most part. Really, it only got interesting at the end. And on top of that, it's like, it's just. It didn't feel fun. A movie that's so bad it's good should at least have like kind of like this fun feeling to it. Like you watch Tommy Wiseau's The Room, and it's like, oh, this is fucking goofy. This is just silly. You watch Birdemic. This is ridiculous. Look at those terrible effects. It's like there's something for you to latch onto that makes it entertaining. Still, that makes it funny, even if that wasn't the initial intent of the film. But you watch this and it's like it doesn't really have much of any of that. Like there's some parts of this that are clearly meant to be more humorous. This is classified as a black comedy film as well. And there's definitely some moments that are clearly meant to be over the top silly and more humorous, but it's not. It's not funny. It's not that over the top humorous. It's just not. It's again a lot of the time boring. And it's so distracting with all of the excessive cuts and random scene transitions that just feel so out of place and haphazardly just tacked on. It just doesn't come across like there was thought put into it. There's also a couple other things that were just thrown in, and it just feels like, why the fuck is that part of this? Like the girl, I believe it was her mom, speaking in tongues. That was supposed to be, I guess, even though anything I've ever seen with people speaking in tongues, it is nothing like that. The father was like, oh, your mother's speaking, like, it has the Archangel Gabriel speaking through her. It's like, that is not what is going on there. It's like, why was that scene even added? It never came back again. Nothing ever, that never came back at all. It was like a one-off thing. It's like it was meant to be like this one-off joke, but it wasn't funny. It wasn't entertaining. Like, what was the point of that? I don't understand. There wasn't really any tension. There wasn't really any like interesting kills or anything. Hell, a couple kills happened off screen. Like the brother, like he was just off screened. There were some cops that were off screened. The woman who was sleeping around was off screened. It's like it almost feels like they didn't have the budget to do more than that. Like they only could film some of the kills. And again, pretty much none of the kills were actually that interesting. And the thing is, like I said, this concept could be well done. If this concept were taken a little more seriously, like an actual attempt was made at, directing, pacing, writing, and, cuts and whatnot, if an actual attempt was made at those, and if it were made to actually be, scary, while still containing some of that B-movie goofiness, it could actually work. The concept of a ice cream man who is deranged and is kidnapping and killing children and killing other people as well, it's like it could very much work. But there was so little effort into actually making this like at all that it felt like it was just bad. Again, the best part was Clint Howard, and I would never call him like the best actor out there. Like, I mean, the roles I know him for, like the Johnson in the Austin Powers movies and everything, it's like it's a goofy little gag role. He's not like a major character or anything. And then he's the mayor's assistant, the Whoville mayor's assistant in How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the Jim Carrey one. Again, a goofy side role. Not meant to be like this serious character, and it works more. I feel like his acting works more for those kind of roles. Roles that are meant to be more comedic than anything. But when you throw in the horror, it's like, it wasn't, again, it was definitely the best performance in the movie, but it was not by any means perfect. It had some issues there still. I just feel like this movie could have been something really fun and interesting. And instead, it ended up just being just a disappointment. I just really found it to be bad. And it's like, honestly, I had more fun trying to figure out who the actor was, than actually watching the movie. So, yeah. But that's going to happen. Not every movie I react to on here, not every movie requested is going to be a hit. And I can't say ahead of time, because a lot of these movies, I don't even know what they are ahead of time. But even the ones I do, it's like, I don't know how I'm going to feel about it. I could end up loving it, I could end up hating it. It's not entirely clear. So, I can't be, I'm not like upset that I saw this or anything. I just didn't end up liking it. But I would love to hear your thoughts. Did you find this to be one of those so good or so bad it's good type of movies? Do you find it to be worthy of being a cult classic? And just what do you think of it in general? Let me know your thoughts down below. And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.